Milton Berle said that laughter is an instant vacation because no matter how horrible things are going, if you can laugh at anything, it doesn't even have to be at your situation, but if you can find laughter and get to that place, you are relieved.
Spin the girl.
This is what improv is all about.
Meet the Ad-Libs, Skidmore's improvisational comedy troupe. We rehearse 3 times a week, perform several times each semester, and make ourselves laugh too hard too often. Right now we're 4 girls and 5 guys, but next semester I'll be the only returning female member. And who am I? Well, my name's Rosie. I was voted class clown in high school and was once told that my life was just like a romantic comedy, without the romance. I've grown up proud to define myself as a funny girl, but now, and maybe it's just college, I find myself wanting to take a more academic approach to humor. I'm interested in studying gender and comedy, so I created this film with the help of some of my funniest friends. I've spoken with my fellow Ad-Lib ladies, Olivia Nielsen and Becca Baruch, about what it's like to participate in comedy on a college campus. Self-proclaimed comedy fangirl Becky Stern about being an educated media consumer, Skidmore's resident pop culture experts and 2 of my closest friends, Ben Journey and Peter Johnston, the antithesis of social apathy and a great comedian in his own right, Luke Conley, and Professor of American Studies, leading scholar of gender and comedy, and one of the funniest humans I know, Beck Crefting. Together, I hope to explore what it means to be called the funniest girl I know.
I never thought of it until college. Like I ran.
Of like being a girl.
Yeah, being a girl.
Yeah.
Even in improv. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was a girl until college. I was a lady. I no.
No, I don't know. I don't think you can. Here's a weird thing about gender, and maybe I've just noticed this. Maybe I've just noticed this. But like, it's obviously impossible to not acknowledge it. You know? Like, it's there. It's totally there.
You know, it's one of the basic categorizations of human life. Are you a man or a woman? Which there's wiggle room there, obviously, but it's literally everywhere.
I think when we emphasize women in comedy, it already sets the stage for women as aberrant, as a deviation from the norm. So human genera is male, and humor genera is also male. So if we're highlighting women in comedy, we may not mean to, but we're kind of pointing at it and going, isn't that amazing? Look at them. They're funny too. That's remarkable. Look at them go. And it becomes kind of dismissive and patronizing, and it's a way of continuing to uphold men as clearly the dominant humor producers in society.
Well, gender definitely plays a huge role in pop culture, in that a lot of times when you see a female comic, you think like, oh, well, she's a female, so she's probably not that funny, or like her jokes are going to pertain to like women issues or things along those lines. So about only like 10%, I think, don't quote me on that, of comics are, like comics that you see regularly are female. A lot of Comedy Central shows don't promote women or don't really have many women on the show, just because I think you have the idea that women just aren't funny. And that if you're a woman, then you're probably ugly, or you probably have a bad trait, and that's why you use humor.
The impact, the import of popular media on how we think about humor and ourselves is huge. Like, it's unavoidable, it's inescapable, it's where the constructions of gender play out. So it's where we learn how to be who we are, how we learn how to perform our identity. So
Raise your hand.
Yeah.
I take back some of what I've said. I've always admired Kristen Wiig, and like seeing her on SNL, and seeing her like just kill it and kind of starring in all the sketches, I think was encouraging, and seeing her just using physical comedy a lot, that was something I identified with and thought was just as funny as like verbal witticism.
two of the three. I would argue that the three greatest comic minds working right now are Louis C.K., Amy Poehler, and Tina Fey. Those two women are, not in any particular order, those two women are funnier than most humans have been in the history of comedy. And I think they're very aware of the fact that whether they want to be or not, they are representative of their gender in mainstream comedy. They went into comedy with the intention of being the best there ever was. Not the best women, not, advancing the cause of women in comedy. They just brought their immense talent to the game and did as much with it as they could. And it's that sort of confidence in their own ability that is much more important than their attachment to their identity as women, I think.
I was just reading an interview with Sheryl Sandberg, I think is her name, and she's now like the CEO or something of Facebook, and she used to work for Google, and she just wrote this book called Lean In about how women in the workplace and how there's like women don't ask for what they want enough. And one of the things that she said in the interview was that men, in terms of asking for promotion, men go for promotion when they think they think they're like 60% like capable or qualified, and women feel like they have to be 100% qualified in order to ask for a promotion or a raise. And I just think sometimes, and just as a generalization, seeing more guys do stand up than girls, also that sort of feeling of like, I'm 60% qualified, like I might as well get up on stage because like my mom thinks I'm funny. And I think I see a lot more girls of like, I think I just need to really, I'm not sure yet, so like I need to really take the time to process. And I think that plays into it also.
The guy probably thinks that they're already funny. This might sound so bad, but the guy kind of already thinks that he's already funny, and the girl probably thinks she's funny as well, but she'll really want to like work hard at making, I think she'll want to work harder than the guy will, because she does have to push against that societal.
It's been a rough time for the American people. Phrase you keep hearing about is conservatives trying to legislate women's bodies, and that's really frightening.
I proposed the idea for the Vox sex ed themed comedy show because I thought that a comedy show would be a useful way to get a feminist and a sexually educational message across.
Or like, we have to live in fear of one day turning on the TV and just saying, hi, Rick Santorum, United States Vaginal Comptroller. As the name implies, I am now in charge of parts of you.
If laughter is about truth, if comedy is about connecting to other people on a human level, then you can't ignore the bad things in the world, and you especially can't ignore the bad things that you take part in.
In terms of do people have individual responsibility? Yes, resoundingly so, but they can't do it by themselves. It really takes a host of people committed to thinking about gender relations in a different way, or thinking about race in a different way, or sexuality or ability, so that we're getting the kind of representations that become really fair and complex, so that we see how human we all are and thereby see all of our similarities.
I remember, I think it was maybe my sophomore year again, and after some like ad-lib show or something, my friend Billy came up to me and he's like, "You are the funniest girl I know." And I was like, "Thank you." And he's like, "No, seriously, like, you're the funniest girl I know." I was like, "Okay, that's really, thank you." And then like went away feeling really weird about it, and like didn't know why, because like it was supposed to be a compliment, but it still felt like you're great, but. And then I was so glad, because a little while later, and this isn't like I'm funny, but just like he came up to me later and he was like, "Actually, I take it back. I was thinking about it, and like, you're not the funniest girl I know. You're the funniest person I know." I was like, that, like, not because of like the words, but just because of like the taking me out of a subcategory really means a lot. So like, thank you, Billy.
He picked up your purse, I'll go get them. Okay, Listen.
And so we come back to the ad-libs. Back to me, because that really was what this all was about, wasn't it? I wanted to understand gender's role in comedy as some sort of search for my own relation to comedic performance. Well, you haven't even heard a third of what my friends discussed with me during this project, and as so often happens, I've ended up with more questions than answers. Women have been historically marginalized in comedy. Men dominate the funny business with a natural, aggressive bravado that contrasts the gentle modesty of a traditional woman. But women have proved themselves. We are more than Victorian models of domesticity. Tina Fey, Amy Poehler, Kristen Wiig, Olivia Nielsen. I could go on, but the point is women have a place in comedy, and how can we make this place a little more comfortable? The funniest girl I know is getting her voice heard, and my hope is that someday this voice is not categorized for its high frequency.
Out my brain, it chopped up my prefrontal cortex, and you know what? I'm happier than ever. Feelgood, you can be too. Come with me, Feelgood. Come with me. I've got the needles right here, Feelgood. Let's go places.
Dolores! I recognize you. I recognize you were in a magazine.
I was a star.
A star, Dolores. And I don't want to be with this cane anymore. And I don't want this stupid walker that Mr. Jason needs. I don't want...